Hello, this is the Provoked Prawn, and I'm switching to the Elgato Wave Mic Arm Pro, which is this thing that you can see here. Now, despite there being a Rode PSA 1 Plus in the background, I'm going to be using this as my main boom arm for the majority of the time going forward. I am moving from the Blue Compass, which I've been using for a long time, since about 2017, because it was a solid boom arm that was capable of holding all sorts of microphones of loads of different weights, and considering how many different mics I've tested, it was just easy to adjust, easy to get into a position, move out the way when I need to, move into a good position when I want to, adjust it when gaming and other things, sturdy and solid. And this Elgato Wave arm is just as good, if not better in various different ways. It's highly adjustable and easily moves around. Of course, doing so is causing the camera to wobble, so that shot's not going to look great. But I want to talk to you about why this is cool, show you the various different things it can do and how it can handle different microphones, and talk about why I'm moving away from the Blue Compass and to this microphone and why you might want to do the same. I obviously meant mic arm there and not microphone, but what you'll see here is the Blue Compass on my main desk in a standard setup here, and sort of how it can be easily repositioned. But as you'll see, it also sits very tall off the desk. It keeps bashing my light and just getting in the way of other things. So that's a small complaint that I've had over time while using it. The Elgato mic arm, by comparison, sits a lot lower. It's pitched as a low profile boom arm, and this is why, because it can sit quite low on the desk, which means it can be highly adjustable and easy to get out of the way. You can also put it at the back of your desk and mount it to the rear. You do need a shallow desk for this, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a little while. But you can then have it coming across your desk and towards you that way, so it's not taking up space on the side as mine does. You can see I've got quite a long desk here, a main desk, so this isn't really a problem for me. But if you've got a short desk, this might be helpful. Now, you can see the two side by side here, and I want to demonstrate just how much better the Elgato mic arm is, because it can sit a lot lower, get out of the way much more easily. It swings around, it's easy to adjust, it's easy to reposition, and as you can see, it's holding a Shure SM7DB. It also works with a Shure SM7B, and it can handle a variety of other microphones. The Blue Compass, by comparison, even with its age, is still able to be repositioned nicely and is nice and long, but isn't as flexible in terms of the different ways you can reposition it. So you can see here the length of it, for example, when it's fully stretched out, and I've definitely found it to be very capable over time, whereas the Elgato is shorter when it's in its compact position. So very flexible and really nice. Now, this isn't a cheap boom arm. It is pretty expensive, but it's sturdy, and that's what counts the most. Sturdy, capable, adjustable, and easy to position. However, there are some things that are worth mentioning. In the position that I've got it in, if I put my monitor into its lowest position, which I sometimes do, when I go to reposition the arm, I'm paranoid about when I move it out of the way, like if I just need to push it aside so I can move a camera around or something, for example, I might end up bashing the screen with the back end of the arm. You can see just how much it swings about, and it's really easy to accidentally hit your monitor or other things on the desk. So it's something to consider and to think about in your setup and how you'll be handling it. Now, this is something I was paranoid about doing, but I haven't actually done it during my testing and during the couple of weeks I've been using it, so maybe it's nothing to worry about after all. Now, the box it came in is recyclable in a nice way, and the outer packaging was too, and then as you'll see, it's in several different parts. The base that you can see there is one of the nicer parts of it, but I will say that the packaging did get a bit damaged in transit, and my arm actually got scuffed as a result, so this is one downside, but a small complaint. You can see a very nice looking kit here, and included in the box is the kit that you need to use a variety of mic arms on it. So it has the standard threading on there, but you've also got the threading you'll need for larger microphones. I'll talk more about that in a second. The base that mounts to the desk is also very nice because it has that standard adjustment that you can see here, but it also has a special design to it which makes it easier to mount if there are other objects in the way. For example, if you've got a chest of drawers, or if you're trying to mount it near the wall, as I will be doing in a second, because you can pull down on the handle by pressing the button on the underside, move it around, and then tighten or loosen it without having to do a full swing of the mechanism, which makes it very handy. And it's little things like this that make the difference. You also have this extension, which you can put into the base, so the mic arm sits a bit taller off the desk. You don't have to use this if you don't want to, but you can switch between these depending on how high you want the boom arm and where you're going to adjust the positioning of it. Otherwise, generally, the top of the mic arm sits into the base like this, and then obviously can swing around, and then you can tighten it up with an Allen key that's included to hold it in place. Or alternatively, as I said, you can put this extension in it and lift it up further and then put your base into that, and then tighten both of those to secure it in place. And then you're not accidentally going to pull your mic arm out of the base during use. So obviously handy. Well thought out in terms of design and nice in a variety of ways. Then both parts of the upper have a recess where you can hide your cables away. As I'll show, this will work with both USB-C or USB-A cables and XLR cables. So you're able to nestle both away in there in order to have some good cable channeling and management of cables on your desk, so you can keep things nice and neat. And that's obviously beneficial, especially when you're swinging that mic arm around. And then the tensioning is really straightforward as well. Now, I mentioned how adjustable the blue compass is, and one of the problems people have always had with that, I've seen in my comments, is the tension, getting the tension right for various different mic arms, because it has been fiddly to do and it can cause problems. I haven't had issues with it, but it's much easier with this Elgato arm, because you put the top part into the base and then there's a tensioning screw which you use the little Allen key that's included to adjust the tension depending on the weight of the mic that you've put into it. Then at the top of that you have this ball head mount, which you can just lock and unlock and tighten and untighten and maneuver, and you can see it's multi-directional, so you can put it into loads of different directions. This is handy if you've got a side address microphone or a top address microphone. You can get it in different angles depending on how you want to set it up. You also have these adapters for changing the threading, so there's a couple of these different ones included in there, which means that you can then use it with a variety of microphones. Like, for example, the Elgato Wave 3 microphone, which is a USB mic that will easily fit onto here. Now, this is quite a light microphone, so if you're using a mic like this, you might need to adjust the tension on the arm. But this shows just how flexible it is, because obviously we're going from this to the heavy Shure microphone and other mics as well. You just need to adjust the tension down the bottom. Now, I will note I did have some issues with the threading adapter, whereby when I put that on, I then couldn't get it off again easily. So be careful if you're planning on using multiple microphones, but that's probably only an issue that I've had and you won't, because you're probably logically only going to stick with one mic. But you can then obviously hide this cable away and put it into a nice position. And the good thing about the adjustment here with the ball head is just how easy it is to position the mic in a way that's going to be suitable for you, whether you want your mic to be seen or up and down, upside down, sideways on, whatever. And obviously also just nestling things away and getting it into a position that's going to be the most useful for you depending on your desk setup. Now, obviously, I've got it on this side of the desk currently. I'll show you in a second what happens if you mount it at the back. I wanted to demonstrate the standard installation for a microphone. And you can see here, once it's tensioned and tightened up nicely, it's then really easy to adjust. There is a little bit of wobble in there, but not very much. And you're not going to be moving it around while talking anyway, like I did at the beginning of the video. But you can see just how flexible it is there. You can reposition it as much as you want to. Now we're using an Elgato XLR microphone, which is a bit heavier. But again, it's easy enough to use the threading on there to install that onto this mic arm and then adjust it into the right position and customize how you're going to have that sitting. So it's multi-microphone capable, not only with the adapters, but also with a variety of weights. I'll leave the specs in the description of what it can handle, but from what I've seen with these few different mics, absolutely no problems whatsoever, and easy to sort out and adjust the tension of it to make sure it can handle them without any fuss. I didn't find that you put a mic on and it's just falling over immediately, for example, which is obviously not good. And that's why you want to pay extra money for a boom arm. So you've got a good solid boom arm that isn't letting loads of knocks through from the desk and isn't just going to fall over at the slightest touch, and also can just be moved out of the way because it's how much you can move it around and makes a big difference. And the ball head mount on the top is a classic design from Elgato that's always nice to see on their products like this, because it means that you've just got a lot of flexibility in where you put it, and it's nice and solid as well. Once you've tightened it up, there's no issues there. Now, I wanted to demonstrate what happens if you want to mount it on the back of your desk. So as I've said, with the base, you can get behind the desk and mount it by the wall by just pulling down on that handle, and then you can just go about putting it in and mounting it this way. I want to note, though, that my desk is about 900 millimeters wide, deep towards the wall from where I'm sitting, which is quite deep. It's quite a deep desk. If you've got the same sort of setup, you might have a problem here. So from a top-down shot, you can see how long the arm is and how far it stretches across there. It does work, but it doesn't give you as much flexibility in where you can position it. Now, this isn't ideal if you've got your monitor and other things there, because it means you can't easily move it around. And I don't think it's low enough. This is obviously going to depend highly on the size of your monitor, how tall your monitor can go in terms of the adjustment of it. For example, this one doesn't go up and down in terms of height adjustment, so I couldn't put the mic arm underneath it. I have to sort of angle at it and come from a different direction. But what I'm saying is, if you've got a really deep desk, this might not be the ideal position for it. Having it off to the left or to the right, depending on your preference, might be preferable and better than trying to get it at the back of the desk. At least that's my experience. But as you can see, it's easy then to put the mic facing you and get it close to you anyway, and I think it's just easier that way anyway. But the downside is it does swing around more. So as I've shown it swing on my main desk towards the monitor, it also swings out into the room as well. So because it's got this wide swing on it, you need to make space on either side. Make sure you're not going to hit your monitor. Make sure you're not going to knock into other things behind you or in your surrounding environment. All told, though, a nice upgrade from the Blue Compass and much better mic arm overall. You also have some other little highlights, like this removable cap here. You can get custom design ones to go on there. So in theory, you could get your logo if you're a content creator to put on there and be seen on streams or on videos. So well worth a look. Check out the links in the description to find out more. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Thanks for watching. You've made it right to the end of the video, you brilliant legend you. If you've enjoyed it, click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment down below if you've got any questions. If you really enjoyed it, consider joining the channel and see the benefits of doing so. Check out these other videos. You might well find them interesting or useful. And most importantly, have a great life.